All right, so what you heard earlier was Instrumental Friends Part 1, which was recorded in 2002 by myself. Then we heard Instrumental Friends Part 2, Acquaintances, which was recorded in 2002 by myself. And tonight what you're going to hear is Instrumental Friends Part 3. The way this album came about, as many of you guys know, and 2-3 of you guys were on the album, Kaleidoscope was an album that had about 40 different guest artists on it, 12 different collaborations, 18 collaborations. How many tracks are on that? A lot. Yeah, something like that. So after that album was done, I was trying to think about what the next step would be, and the only thing that seemed to make sense was to go and whittle it down to just me, back to the way I used to do it. You know, the album we heard, Instrumental Friends Part 1 and 2, was just me doing everything. It was a true solo album. And so I decided, that's the best way to go from a whole lot of people to just one person. Get back to what I used to do, which this is ultimately my solo career, if you will. And some other things also took place. Nicole has been encouraging me to go back to my old ways of doing music. She really likes my older stuff better, as you might have heard on the video promoting this album. And also another thing that was significant, it was the computer that I'm sitting next to. I happened to get a really great deal on this computer. It has a bunch of software that I never thought I would ever have, and I didn't know how the heck to use it, and so I didn't want to go and have my next album be a big production and be sitting there and not sure how to use different software and equipment. And so this album's been a big learning process for me. You'll definitely hear as we go through the tracks, some things change quite dramatically as I'm kind of just experimenting with different pieces of software, and I am going to be saying a few technical things, so I apologize if you're not a technical person, but I tried to make sure on every track that every song is in a different key. There's a variety of tempos. I also tried to make sure I use different software instruments, compressors, and EQs on each track, so each one has a different flavor, and I can kind of get a sense of what I might want to use on future albums. So what I did after I decided I was going to do Instrumental Friends Part 3, I sent out a request to all my friends saying, hey, if you want to be on this album, if you can, just send me a little blurb, ask some basic information, as you guys all know, because most of you guys filled out the information survey. And I wound up getting about 41 entries that I had to reduce down to 12, which was a very interesting process. I wanted to make sure there was a fairly good ethnic balance, a good balance of male to female, so that's split down the middle. I also consulted with Nicole, because she was going to be painting everybody, and we'll talk more about what that's going to turn into in a little bit, because she doesn't even know. So there was choices she had as to who she wanted to paint. And then what the final kind of sorting process was me figuring out what this was going to sound like. What was the one thing that would work well for this album? Because, I had stuff that was submitted where people submitted classical pieces, and I was like, I'm not going to write a classical song for you, I'm sorry. So what I decided to go with, and why you guys were selected musically, is because there was either an element of electronic, an element of funk, or a dark element. Okay, and then actually I see we have that all represented here. So what this album is going to do, it's going to start off funky and fun, and it's going to get dark. So, yeah. So we're going to start funky fun, we're going to have a little intermission here, and then we're going to come back for part 2, and it's going to get much darker and demented, if you will. Cool. The other thing is when you're hearing the music, I want to make sure everybody knows that these songs are based on other songs. Each of you sent me 3 different picks for music that you felt best represented you. That was my reference track when I was working on this music. Some of it, I incorporated different elements. Some of it was based strongly on one particular song. But each song is based on these reference tracks. And I had some people submit things that didn't sound alike, so I had to disqualify them. But you guys all did a really good job of making sure everything sounded similar.